Good morning. If it is Saturday, that means it is Wealth Warrior Broadcast. And I am Brent Harding, and my co host, October man, Robert H. Randolph, are in the house and on the virtual couch just for you. Today's
Good
topic,
morning.
oh, I'm
Good
sorry,
morning.
Bob.
I
Uh,
just wanted to say good morning, everyone, and
excellent.
welcome. All right, go
Fantastic.
ahead, Brent. Sorry.
No problem. We are talking today about the 6 dirty secrets that the wealthy know. And the question is, do we know? And I'm going to submit that there's probably a likelihood that we know some of them. So the test, six secrets that we all want to know. And why am I changing up and I decided to do the 6 secrets? The reason for that is because we are getting very close to the time and you need to be prepared for the 6 dirty little secrets. I want to start off by sharing with you that today's broadcast is being sponsored by Lifestyle Travel Exchange. And Bob, if you'd introduce your business.
Yes. I well, which one, Brent?
We'll go with Coronado. How about that?
Coronado Travel. If you'll go to my page, you'll find some interesting and hopefully some exciting things on that page. So
Fan,
that's pretty much it. Coronado.vacation.com.
Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. And if our warriors, those that are listening, have a business that they want to share with us, this is about creating wealth. Part of the wealth is not only sharing the information, but us doing business within our own circles. Us doing business within our own circles. This is a time when you want to shamelessly let folks know what you are doing. And if you would like to be a sponsor for our broadcast, if you'd like to be a participant in our broadcast, then we want to know that too. So make sure that you inbox me on my Facebook page, Brent Harding, of course, and we will make that connection happen because, again, it is about keeping that circle because when we do, that wealth moves round and round in that circle. So at this point, the sponsors for today's show, of course, is myself from Lifestyle Travel Exchange and Robert H. Randolph, October man from Coronado. So, with that being said, let's talk about the secrets because they are there. There are secrets. And what I'm amazed about is that we don't know or we're not exercising them because they're so simple that more often than not, people don't realize that they in fact exist. So, secret number 1 is paying off debt. Now, I got to tell you, I will say it. Most people do not want anybody to know that the collection man or woman is calling their home. Am I right about that, Bob?
Right. Total denial on that one.
Absolutely. Total denial. When, in fact, there are folks that have machines to block the calls from coming in. They see the 800 number calling and they go, I know who that is. Or, or now they use an area code, they use a number with the area code right in your area. And so you sit and you look at your cell phone and you go, I don't recognize that number. Let me answer it. And they even call you by your name. Bob, what are your thoughts regarding that?
I know nothing about that.
Absolutely nothing about that. Okay, Bob, you're in denial.
Much about that. You're telling some secrets.
And so right now, in fact, starting November 1st, you can expect anybody that has any debt that's outstanding, you can expect those calls to intensify. Why? Because we are at the last quarter of the year. If a company is using the federal calendar, and the federal calendar starts January 1st, ends December 31st, then we are in the last quarter of the year. We're approaching the last 60 days of the year. And if you own a company What's important to you at this time of year? How about your bottom line? Bob, talk about the bottom line within the last 60 days of the year.
Well, it took me a while to understand that I was working for a major computer company, and somehow magically I took vacation in December. And I only did that once in all the time I worked there because everything broke loose in December and November. And people were anxiously, in that particular context, people were working really hard to make their quotas for the end of the year. And it was bedlam. So that from that one experience, I never took December off again. And it's usually a hectic time when people are trying to close their books and they're trying to show as much profitability in that particular calendar year as they possibly can. So yeah, it's a knock 'em sock 'em down part of the year, and you should be aware of that. And I agree with you. I think the calls, I again, too much information, but I think the calls do intensify toward the end of the year. I never noticed that, but you're absolutely right.
Absolutely. And thank you very much for pointing out the end of the year and your experience, Bob. They do intensify because the bottom line to any business is critical. And
Yes.
so they're looking, how can we get this money? How can we do this? And the calls start coming and coming and coming. Well, here's the deal. Let them come. Now, I know there's a creditor out there that would like to wring my neck right about now. What in the world? This is our show.
Uh,
Therefore, we want you to be successful and we want you to be able to pay off the debt. So here's the deal. The closer it gets to the end of the year, the more negotiating power you have.
excellent, excellent,
So
excellent.
come about, oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Come about December 1st, you got some negotiating power because that's where the pennies on the dollar come in. Now, I know some folks are going to say, man, Brent, that's going to mess up my credit, and they're going to talk about their credit. Notice this. When you saw the outline for the broadcast today, what you noticed is I didn't put the word credit in there because we have to come back and deal with that in a separate show. Right now, it is about the secrets that will help you resolve some problems. And if you want to get that debt paid off, then guess what? That will be the time to start negotiating for X amount of cents on the dollar. You're 70 cents on the dollar, down to 50 cents on the dollar. Let's see what we can do.
Mm.
Here's a dirty little secret about that, Bob, that I didn't share with folks, but I'm going to share it with you. How about that?
Oh, excellent.
Put it in writing. You never, ever, never, ever, ever, never just do something verbally. When you put it in writing, what you're going to say is that I will get that to you in 48 hours. Or what you say is this deal is good so long as the money is received. And generally, it ends up being about 72 hours. And that they will report to the Bureau that it's paid satisfactorily.
Nice.
What do
Yes.
you think about that, Bob? Talk to me. What do you think?
Yeah. That. Wow. That's a great tip. Uh, and wow. Yeah. That's magical. Absolutely. You can reduce that debt by a simple negotiation, and I couldn't underline more the idea of getting it in writing because there's a lot that transpires between a verbal commitment and a written commitment. So you have to protect yourself. If you do negotiate a deal, make sure you get that deal documented. And that goes for just about any business transaction you're doing that involves two parties or more, that you should get it in writing. Can't emphasize that enough, I don't think, Brent.
Appreciate that. In fact, when we think about legal documents and the law, what do we recognize about that? There needs to be a date, the parties, the money that is involved, whatever the action is, and then finally it needs to be signed by the parties. And quite frankly, if you live in the Northeast Quarter, for the most part, we are a 4-point state. And what that means is whatever happens on the 4 points or the 4 corners, if you will, of that document is what in fact is reality. So it is absolutely critical that you have it in there. And Bob, I'll go so far as to say to folks that the part where you make a determination where you say, I will pay this by this date, and if it doesn't, and if they do not receive it, it expires, is critical, because you're going to have a tug of war with that creditor. Well, if I give you this letter, or the vendor, it's either the creditor, it's the collection company, the third party, whoever the case may be. It becomes so critical because they're going to go tug of war with you about how we're going to get the money. And especially if you say to them, and I want you to put it on my credit report that it's paid satisfactory.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, heavy duty.
Absolutely.
Now, along with that, there is clearly a difference between the original creditor and the collection entity. And I point this out because the collection entity is going to oftentimes tell you, well, they can't report that to the Bureau. And you're going to say, well, I need you to get back to the original creditor to do that. Also, by the time a debtor or a debt collection agent has gotten your debt, in terms of the dollars and cents, they've usually bought that debt at anywhere from 40 cents on the dollar, anywhere from 20 to about 40, 50 cents tops on the dollar. So obviously they want to get back as much as they can. So there is a margin for error or room on that. And you say to me, well, Brent, wait a second. You said this was a dirty little secret of the wealthy know.
Mm.
What do you think about that, Bob?
Oh, I think that's some incredible insight and an incredible tip, because knowing the inner workings of the financial system and how it really works underneath is absolutely invaluable. And that's an invaluable piece of information that you can use, as well as people that are like Brent, who are incredibly savvy of how finances work. Great tip. Great tip.
I appreciate that, Bob. Thank you so much. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Now, before we proceed to the next dirty little secret, I want to give a shout out to some of our warriors that are on board. I want to say good morning to Donya Zimmerman, and please, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Donya. So I'm going to assume it's Donya Zimmerman. I want to say good morning to her. Sherry Tucker Brown is in the house. Good morning to you. Nicole Dublin, thank you, the true and faithful. Want to say hello to Alice Buka. Oh, Bob, am I saying her name correctly?
It's Buka.
Buka. Good morning, Alice. Also want to give a shout out to Kelly McGovern. And by the way, Kelly, would you please go up on the site and let folks know what you do? We're going to have Kelly on the show at some point in time. She has opened up a business, and I want to make sure that we, again, work from within. So I want to say hello. Also want to say hello to Alina Lopez Thomas, who is one of my associates and an incredibly fun individual. And so I want to make sure I give shout outs to folks and say thank you very much for being on the broadcast. And we hope that we are giving you some incredible tips. How about that? So without further ado, it is time for us to take the fingers, put them to the keyboard. What nuggets did you get out of the conversation about paying off your debt? Did you get a nugget? And if you did, I want you to post that nugget onto the air. Let folks know what that nugget is. If anything, the nugget should read, nugget, negotiate in December. Negotiate in December. I just remembered something, Bob. that actually isn't on this list, but it's another, if you will, it's another component or another secret to what we're talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and share that. Some folks will say, well, Brent, I do not have the money to do that. And this is what I'm going to say to you. It's about this time of year. Now, you may want to talk to your tax advisor before you make this move, but I got to tell you, this is a gem. And that is this. You say, well, I do not have enough money to do that. Well, here's the deal. How about you go to the HR department? You say to the HR representative, I want to change my exemptions. Right now, I am taking out one exemption. How about you take out 9? And get that money, those tax dollars that you would be putting in, get that money so that you can negotiate those cents on the dollar and wipe out the debt that you're looking to wipe out.
Wow.
What do you think?
Wow. Ingenious. Absolutely ingenious.
Well, I tell you what, these are secrets that have been shared with me. So I got to say, I didn't know them all, but they are secrets that have very definitely been shared with me. And what is my role? To be a servant leader and share them with you.
Brent, one of the things that came up while you were saying that, the other opportunity that you can make a part of the negotiation is you can literally establish a payment plan. And I've seen that sort of thing work beautifully because, you know, I think the credit people know that the collection people certainly know that you don't necessarily have that money in your back pocket. And so as part of the negotiation, you can negotiate a payment plan.
That is true. And in some instances, it's not generally going to be a month to month, but you might be able to negotiate this much down and then a couple of additional payments, but it still is a payment plan. And they can report that you are paying because you put that money down and now you have a payment plan. Good point, Bob. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Next dirty little secret. Are you ready? Buying real estate. If you live in the New England area, when would you want to be buying real estate? What do you think about that, Bob?
That's an eye opener.
About December, when it is cold outside, do people like to go out in the cold, like 111 inches in Boston?
Not in New England.
Not in New England. And I got to tell you, Georgia, we remember what happened to Georgia a year ago when they got half an inch. And we remember people sleeping in stores and in schools and things of that nature. So guess what? Weather is affecting us all around. California even gets a hit every now and then. How about that?
Yep.
So here's the deal. Weather, weather, weather is an important factor when it comes to purchasing. It's an important factor when it comes to buying real estate because many of us are hashtag first time. We are the first time investors, remember? Hashtag I am a new wealth baby. Okay, so we are new to the game, if you will. So many of us are new real estate investors, or maybe we are beginning real estate investors, or maybe we don't have very much. So from that perspective, we are still, right now, this first year is really dedicated to those of us that are hashtag first generation wealth babies. And so as a result of that, we are now getting things that, again, the wealthy already know. We are here because we want to be wealthy. So with that being said, December, when in particular, we're in the New England area, when it is cold outside, that is when prices are more negotiable. So December, January, February, possibly March are times when you are more likely to have a discussion with a seller that is willing to capitulate a little bit. And besides that, if you're in the New England area, One of the reasons why I personally like to purchase at the cold time of the year or the rainy time of the year is because I want to go into that basement and I want to take a look and see, is that basement a dry basement? Are there water lines along the wall? And
Mm,
when am I likely to see that?
mm.
I'm likely to see that in the wintertime. In fact, I just had an experience recently where I looked at a piece of property, and what was fascinating is this, Bob. The building was brick. And so one of the things that was interesting about that I didn't know was I didn't know about the fastening of the wall, especially when you purchase old property. Now, this is interesting. We discovered that with that particular house, the wall was literally not fastened to the house.
Oh,
And the snow this past winter, and apparently this must have been going on for a long period of time. However, because the snow was so heavy at this time last year, that when it went down between the house and the wall did not come all the way back. And that's why it was never noticed before, that the wall would come back after the wintertime because there wasn't as much snow. And so it brought back in. But because of the heaviness and because of the depth and how far down the snow had gone between the wall and the house, it didn't come back.
wow.
Is that an amazing, is that amazing or what?
Absolutely. And did it cause a crack or was
Yes,
it
it actually, it not only did it cause a crack and brick started to crumble, but it is visible that you now are able to see that the wall is not attached to the house.
wow. Fantastic. Yeah. Would an
So this is
inspector would an inspector have caught that? If you I mean,
uh, an inspector should have caught that, yes. But guess what? He didn't.
oh my goodness.
He did not catch that one, and that was pretty darn amazing. So my point to folks is again, you get to see things that you might not see in the spring. And so buying real estate December, January, February in the New England area is a good deal. It's a more negotiable setting in which to purchase. Now, for those of you who are from other states, then I submit this to you. This is going to sound really strange, but it shouldn't be. You're looking for any adverse time that creates an opportunity for you to purchase and bring the wealth on in your home. Most of us are first generation wealth babies, so we are now looking for the secrets that are already known. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a secret. Adverse conditions, whether it's weather, whatever the case may be, those are the times when wealth is created. You know, there in our industry, in the industry that Bob and I are in, one of the industries, I should say, is network marketing. And here's the fascinating thing about it. Most people that have become wealthy in network marketing have done so when economic times are challenging. In fact, in many companies, economic times, when would you buy stock? You buy stock when it's going down. You look for the sales because we know that it will likely rise again. Maybe some crisis occurred. Now, obviously, Enron, that's a different story. But here's the point. We learn how to do it so that we know when to buy it, when there is a sale, so that we can take advantage of it. Adverse conditions bring opportunity. What do you think about that, Bob, relative to real estate?
Excellent. The my in my travels, I've attended a number of real estate investment seminars, and one of the things that you look for is and not and not I don't want to sound like uh, a vampire or anything, but one of the things you look for is something called distressed properties. And those distressed properties are properties that where the seller, for whatever reason, is very, very anxious to sell. And those are the bargains. Also, by the way, one of the things I remember from one of the seminars that surprised me is that if the offer that you make is doesn't embarrass you, uh, then you've done a poor job.
Then you offer too much.
You offer too much. So you've got to make sure that the offer that you make for a piece of real estate is embarrassing to everybody. And
Now, that's a nugget right there. Nugget or hashtag, it must be embarrassing. Hashtag, it must be embarrassing. I like that one.
yeah, so that's a little tidbit that you can remember, and particularly when you're dealing with distressed properties, you just got to make really outlandish, embarrassing type offers because
That
they
is so perfect.
have a need and you're supplying a solution to their need, and so you might as well get the best deal you can.
I absolutely love it, Bob. Thank you so much. Did everybody, I got some hashtags here. Hashtag must be embarrassing. Hashtag distressed properties. Now, I got to say this, Bob, and that is for the real estate brokers that are watching the show, got to turn the hat around and recognize that we're building wealth warriors. So we would be remiss if we weren't sharing some of the secrets. So just know that when you are, when the client is a wealth warrior, turn their hat around. Remember what we've talked about. How about that, Bob? Am I right?
Oh, absolutely.
So
Yeah, that's
I just want them to know that they have been well educated. How about that?
absolutely.
We're going to move on to dirty secret number 3.
Yeah.
What is dirty secret number 3? Investing in insurance. Most of us have, I mean, we get such an attitude when it comes to insurance. No, I don't want to pay for that. Invest in insurance in such a way that it pays off for you. That's what we're talking about. In fact, yesterday I was meeting with Shannon Byron, the young lady that we are going to have on the show again. And by the way, she sends her regards. She was in the emergency room that morning, last Saturday, and she was so sorry. She says, man, I wanted to be there. So we're going to have her here. But here's the point. Invest in insurance. There are various types of policies that you can layer your risk with. Insurance pays off. You've just got to know what type of insurance. Maybe it's a policy that is a 20-year policy instead of a long-term policy, or a 10-year policy that then is going to accrue money for you. Check the riders. Riders are attachments to the policy that may, in fact, benefit you. In fact, no, I can't say may, in fact, that they will benefit you. That's why they're a rider. They're not part of the general policy. So what you want to do, what you have to do is investigate, ask the questions, share with a person, I'm interested in investing in insurance. What should I invest in? Because that's a different conversation from I've got to buy some insurance. See, now I'm investing. That means that insurance agent's going to look at you a little bit differently. It's pretty sophisticated. Invest? What do you mean? What I mean is, what kind of products do you have that are going to yield a return on my investment? You just took it to another level. Bob, talk to me about that. What do you think?
As you were talking about that, it occurred to me that there's another aspect of that investment,
Please.
and if you're very careful, and it sounds like one of the things you want to do is get some advice from a trusted professional. However, one of the things that occurred to me is if you're investing in insurance, remember that there are policies that will provide you the opportunity to borrow against your investment in that policy at a very reasonable interest rate. So you might want to look at that as an option for you as you go along, is the possibility of borrowing against that particular insurance policy.
You
I've
know,
done it
I think
in the
I,
past.
I think I hear the term OPM evoking from my mouth.
Yes. You want to define that?
OPM, other people's money.
Yeah.
How about you have a policy that you can borrow against to invest in something else that will pay off the debt and yield you a return on the investment?
Yep. Yep.
Oh, man, when I think about that, I get excited.
Great.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. That's what we're talking about. Bob, point well brought out. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Anybody in Anybody in the mood for buying a car? Buying a vehicle? Did I just sound like a Bostonian? Oh my goodness. I just heard that car come out.
Mm, not bad.
Not bad? Okay, we'll take it.
I've heard worse. A
Oh,
car. You're trying to get a car.
oh my goodness. Here's the deal. You want to buy a car. When do you buy a car? At the end of the month. Why? Again, it's the same scenario. Bottom line, that salesperson is looking to win the contest. The contest says, I got to sell 10 cars. I got 9 sold. I'm looking for that 10th sale, and I'll stay there till midnight as long as I can sign it for that day. You want a hungry salesperson that has the right car for you. And it's the end of the month. Well, Brent, but I see this car. It may not be there at the end of the month. True. You said you needed a car. You said you wanted a car. Guess what? It's here. If that one is gone, or it wasn't the color you wanted, did I want to drive a white Mercedes-Benz? No, they're dirty. They get dirty all the time. But guess what? That was what was there when I went looking on the 25th of the month. Bob, what's your thought on buying a car at the end of the month?
Well, you're absolutely right. I was thinking when you said that, I was thinking like the end of the model year.
That too.
But now that you mention it, the end of the month is a great time to buy a car. Now, Brent, this might be a little off the subject, but what about the issue of instant depreciation of the car and getting that? In my life, I finally have come to the point of I would never buy. We talk about buying car. I bought this car right off the floor, and people get all proud about that. But
excited! They get excited. Yes.
I bought it right off the showroom floor. That's the way people phrase it. And what I've learned over the years is that buying it off the showroom floor may not be a good plan, because as soon as you drive it around the block, it's depreciated by a significant percentage. And maybe one of the things I've done is I've bought demo cars with a few miles on them that have been used by salespeople. And I had a pretty good bargain out of it. As a matter of fact, that particular car, I think I drove it for 250,000 miles. And it really did the job. But it was new at the time I bought it. Had about 5,000 miles on it, but heck, I didn't have to suffer the cost of the depreciation. So I think that's something that people might want to look at too. I know some people, they never buy a new car. They the same model year, they buy the last year's model or a used car. that's in good condition, because they do not
Millionaire next door.
want
Book Millionaire Next Door. I'm hearing you. Keep on preaching, brother. Keep on preaching.
But that's something to consider, as well as when you're looking for a quote unquote new car. And remember, it may not be new, but it's new to you.
Yes, thank you. That's exactly the way I look at things. Hey, it's new to me, so it's my new car.
Yeah, exactly,
Hello.
exactly.
Well, it's just like real estate. Unless you buy a new house, it's my new house. Now,
Yeah,
somebody, it might be 200 years old, but it's my new house.
yep, exactly.
I like
So
your point, Bob. Go, no, please go right ahead. I
I was
like your
just going
point.
to say that's a little shift in thinking,
Yeah,
uh, and and try to avoid all that excitement and puffery when you're making a business transaction. And buying a car is really a business transaction.
true that. And now that you bring that up, it also is contingent upon how you're going to use that vehicle. Is it going to be personal use? Is it going to be business use? How can you turn it into business use, which makes it cost effective or tax effective for you? You brought out a very, very good point, Bob. I appreciate that tremendously. Guess what? We
Yeah.
still have more time on the air. And what does that mean? That means that now is the time to invite your friends, your family on the program. That means it is time for us to do a flash mob. What's a flash mob? A flash mob means that everybody that's watching the broadcast is going to let the public know, is going to let the social media public know that the wealth warriors are in the house and that they want to join this group and hear the nuggets that we're talking about. So, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go up to our Twitter page. Get ready. You want to go up to your Twitter page. And what you want to do is say, Wealth Nuggets are in the house. Join Wealth Warrior Broadcast. Now, I realize that's a lot, but I want you to do it. We want to make sure that we are servant leaders as well. We're looking for 100,000 people that want to change their lives. And I shared with you the October man, Bob and I cannot do it alone. We need some help. So is everybody ready? Fingers on the keyboard. I want you to get ready, go up, open up your Twitter page right now. Open up the Twitter page right now so that you're prepared, because see, we're going to all do this together. We don't want anybody straggling off. So we didn't say do it now. We just said, let's get everybody to open up their page, get their fingers on the keyboard. In fact, you know what? I'm going to change that. I'm going to say what we want to say is watch Wealth Warriors now. Watch Wealth Warriors on FB now. How's that? That's a little shorter, isn't it? A little easier to do. Watch Wealth Warriors on FB now. And it certainly is in with the amount of characters. So, with that being said, fingers on the keyboard. Are we ready? I'm going to do a countdown from 5. And when I hit 1, that means start typing. Stop putting it up. That's called flash mob. I'm going to go 1 flash mob. Okay, so this is going to test out our coaching ability and our listening skills. Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Flash mob! That means that we will see more people watching the broadcast because we are live, baby. We are live, and we're talking about the 6 dirty little secrets the wealthy know. Do you? And thus far, we've covered 4 of them. We've talked about paying off debt. Paying off debt. And when do we start the negotiations? The negotiations start December 1st. Bob, why do the negotiations start in December?
Because that is the time when creditors and collectors are the most vulnerable and open to possibilities. And
Hello.
It makes things more negotiable.
They got another word for that. It begins with an H, and it's called hungry.
Right. Absolutely.
So that was dirty secret number one. The second dirty little secret is, when do we buy real estate? Now we know in the New England area, it's weather related, WEATHER, weather related. So what about other areas of the country? What we say is, understand the terrain, understand the adverse conditions, because adverse conditions create opportunities. Adverse, so the A word, adverse conditions create opportunities. People are more negotiable. Now, Bob, you had another tidbit, or another tip rather, relative to real estate. Could you reiterate that one when you talked about real estate?
Oh yeah, the business of making embarrassing offers.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a piece of real estate and you're making an offer to buy, uh, if that offer is not embarrassing, it doesn't embarrass you, and it's likely to embarrass the seller, then you have paid too much for the real estate.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And now, Bob, was that mostly related to distressed properties, or what buyer, when we're doing something like that, what buyer are we talking to?
Actually, both. Now that you mention it, it works much better with distressed properties, of course. And you should do the same thing when you're negotiating with a regular seller. I mean, you know.
Well, you know what, Bob, then, and what it also says to me when I hear that is, what we're talking about is investment. We're not talking about that dream home. We're not talking about real estate is real estate is real estate. We are not there to fall in love with the real estate. Real estate serves a purpose. It helps to create wealth. Am I right, Bob?
Absolutely. Yeah, but that's the magic principle. Don't fall in love with it. You'll be stuck with
There you go. There you go. And folks, we're only talking about real estate. We're not talking about other things, okay?
it.
With that, I'm going to move on to dirty little secret number three. Dirty little secret number three is, invest in insurance. Don't buy it. Invest in insurance. Figure out, find out, talk to, interview insurance professionals about investing, because that's what you're doing. It's got to have a return. It's not just about it paying, about the insurance and the fact that it will cover you. It is about investing in insurance.
Great point.
Thank you so much, Bob. I appreciate that. Number four, the infamous buy the car. Same principle as paying off the debt. The end of the month, it's either the end of the month or it is the end of the model year. In fact, here's a test. I want somebody to go up on our Wealth Warriors site, and I want you to tell me, when is the end of the model year? Traditionally, when is the end of the model year? I'm going to be interested to see what people say, because there is only 1 month that literally is the industry end of the year. We're going to see who knows that. Let's move on to number five. And well, actually, I came up with seven after I sat and thought about it, but we can kind of merge six and seven together. So let's do number five. Best prices on clothing. You know, some of us are going broke buying clothes. We're not even going to talk about the sneakers and the sneaker wars that are going on. Bob, can you imagine sneaker wars?
No, I can't. I grew up wearing those things called tinny runners. And we didn't know anything about sneakers. You
I
just
never heard that term. What is that term again?
tinny runners.
Tinny runners. Okay. Keep going, Bob.
That's an old school term. And we were lucky to get those. And all these people. I mean, the prices. My son, talks about paying $150 for a pair of sneakers, and I'm thinking, wow.
And that would be a deal. That would be a bargain.
Yeah, and I just can't wrap my mind around that. But yeah, those could get
I
out
love
of
the
hand.
reaction. Yeah. But I met a gentleman, a young guy, probably about 17 years old, and says he invests in sneakers. He literally will buy them and sell them. And I thought, well, you know what? I mean, you're entrepreneurial. That's a great starting point. However, I recall seeing a YouTube discussion that actually I ended up seeing a broadcast about a mother who said, you know what? You're going to invest in the company. So you own some of the company, then we'll let you buy the sneakers. So I thought that was that was not
Absolutely.
only was it ingenious, but it was amazing that she took it to that place.
Absolutely. Yeah. With that kind of
So
money. Yeah, my son has done that. When these new sneakers are introduced,
yes.
I went with him one day to do that, and it's amazing stuff that what these people do with it. It
Oh, they
just
roll it out. I mean, it's like rolling out a computer.
Yep, yep. It's absolutely incredible. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, without a doubt, you're sitting there going, what is it? Buying clothes, best price, best locations. Now, I'm always fascinated with the warehouse when you hear that term warehouse clothing, or you're buying it at an outlet or something of that nature. And we are led to believe, oh my goodness, that's the best place to buy. That's going to get me the best price. We have bought into the outlet mentality. And so that's where we oftentimes think we're finding the best prices. Well, we do find oftentimes better pricing there at outlet stores. We do find that. Here again, end of the month, when they're moving the stuff out. I know end of season, yes, but end of month is also. So you've got end of season, you've got end of month. Those are the times when you are clearly going to get phenomenal pricing. Also, warehouses that are true warehouses that move those clothes, that move that clothing rather, to distributors, they too will have end of month or end of season, or we've got these leftover sizes. So it is about knowing where the clothing warehouse locations are at. It is about relationships that will tell you the secrets of when things are going to be priced down. It is getting to know what's your favorite store and getting to know the clerks and the managers, because it is about getting prices that you want to get. It is about following people that know this as well. Again, it becomes a little secret. Now, why do we use the word dirty? Because it got your attention. It got you on the broadcast. If I had said six clean little secrets, would you have been here? No. Everybody likes a secret. Everybody likes to know something somebody else doesn't know. It's between you and I, right here. Buying clothing. End of month, end of season, get to know somebody. Yes, we can use the internet as well, but I'll tell you, sometimes you can use the internet and you get your feelings hurt. You get something and then it costs you so much more to send it back. You paid the shipping to bring it to you, to look at a piece of crap to send it back, and it costs you to send it back.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to underline that, one of the worst things that happened in Boston in recent
Oh,
history,
okay.
Filene's basement closed.
Oh, goodness. I don't even, oh, pain, pain.
I was talking to my friend the other day. I used to go to Filene's basement, and I would get Brooks Brothers suits for $150 a throw.
Thank
And
you.
I mean, I can't believe it. It was so fantastic. And matter of fact, I got embarrassed about being able to do that, and I went to Brooks Brothers and paid $600 for a suit. That hurt a lot, But
Wrong with you, Bob? No.
I had saved so much money over the years buying those $150 Brooks Brothers suits. I got guilty.
Oh, is that right? Let me tell you something. Now that I know these 6 dirty little secrets, I ain't feeling guilty at all. Not at all. When you mentioned filings, that brought back some memories. I can remember there were times when it felt like running of the bulls.
Oh, yes.
They were having a fur sale, and my sister at that time had been back in the day, she had been a track star. And in fact, probably if she had continued her career, she had gone to the States. If she continued her career, I'm convinced that she would have been in the Olympics.
Wow.
And I was actually out of state, and my mother wanted to buy me a gift, and the gift was a raccoon fur coat, full-length raccoon fur coat.
Oh my goodness.
So my mother and my sister get there early. They are the first ones at the door. And there is if the store was opening up at 8 o'clock, they must have been there at 5, waiting for the doors to open. Yeah. So now the doors open, and my sister and my mom had done a dry run, so they knew where the coat was. A dry run 24 hours before the store closed, so they knew exactly where the coat was. And I remember my mother saying that she told my sister, I want you to run as fast. You tell me you're a track star, then you got to win. And I remember her saying that there was another woman that was running, and my sister was running, and she said that she just slid in to grab the coat and slid actually underneath all the other coats, beating this woman out to get there.
That's incredible.
And I remember my mother saying, that old lady gave you a run for your money. And my sister said, yeah, I know.
You have to have lived in Boston during that period of time to fully appreciate that.
The running of the bulls. Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that memory up. And for those that are watching the broadcast, I know if you were from the Boston area, you are remembering the experience of Filene's Basement. We still miss that store today.
Oh, wow.
We're hitting the last 2, and those are booking a trip. That's right, booking a trip. What is the little dirty secret? What is the little dirty secret of the wealthy when it comes to booking travel? Are you ready for this? They own it. Did you hear that? Mm-hmm. They own it. They have their own travel company. They get into clubs that give them access to property, that give them access to great rates, give them access to what they're looking for. Now, do they own everything? No, it's ownership and access. When I actually opened up my travel and entertainment company, it wasn't because I started out to do that. It was actually, I wanted to make sure that I could take my mother on vacations. And I was at a presentation. Somebody had invited me, and I heard about the business. And I remember saying, yeah, I'm not interested in the business, but I'm interested in the benefits that I can get from it. And one of those was access to insider rates and the tax benefit, because now I owned my own business. So it was a twofer, and it got even better. There's something called familiarization trips that came as a result of that, because right now travel is getting more and more expensive. Airlines have figured out, we're not flying with empty planes. And not only that, they have also figured out, we'll give you we need to, if we've overbooked, shucks, we'll give you $100 certificate and we'll put you on another flight. They are willing to do that because it benefits them. It's the return on their investment. Bob, take a few moments and speak to booking travel, owning your own business.
Well, the 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 message that came to my mind as you were speaking was that old adage: never pay retail when you can pay wholesale. And
That was a nugget. Don't.
yeah, never pay retail. And owning your own travel business is certainly a way to avoid retail rates, and not only avoid retail rates, but enjoy the pleasure of fabulous travel to anywhere in the world. So uh, that's just the bottom line of it: is never pay retail when you can get it for wholesale.
Folks, that was a nugget. Hashtag never pay retail. Now, remember, we are a community that is learning to create wealth. So, we can keep it right here between us. We don't need to broadcast it everywhere. Well, we're building the family first, and then we can broadcast. Is that okay? I absolutely love it, Bob. Agree with you wholeheartedly. That was the best hashtag the best hashtag ever. Yes, never pay retail, because you don't necessarily have to. That comes out of one of the books, one of the more famed books, and that's The Millionaire Next Door. We don't know who's next door to us. Here's another tip. When we go back to the car, remember this: we do not have to buy the newest vehicle. Most wealthy people do not drive the 2016. They might drive the 2010, but the name on it still makes it 2016 because of the name. It's got name brand recognition. And then there's a nice polite word that comes up. It's called vintage.
Yes. Yes.
That makes it okay, because it is now vintage.
Which starts to it crosses over from depreciation to appreciation at that point.
You know what? Thank you. Thank you. Very, very true. And here's the bonus. Bonus number 7. So let me go back, make sure that we've gone through it. What we said is number 1, the number 1 dirty little secret is paying off debt. Number 2 dirty little secret is buying real estate. Number 3, the dirty little secret is investing in insurance. And it's all about the when to do these things. Number 4 is about purchasing the vehicle or the car. Number 5 is clothing. Number 6 is booking the trip. And number 7, the secret in the last 2 minutes of our broadcast: own your own business. That is the
Yes.
dirty little secret. Go ahead, Bob. What were you going to say?
I'm just going to say yes, 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 yes. You're never going to get rich working for somebody else.
Oh,
You got to do it for yourself.
wonderfully said. Now, that does not mean go out and quit your job. No, no, no. That doesn't mean go out and quit your job. But what it does mean is own a business, because it gives you tax benefits. The government allows us to be in pursuit of a profit. So you do not have to immediately show profit. At some point you do. The government gives you 5 years. Out of those 5 years, 2 years have to show profit. But throughout the whole process, you get that period of time to be in pursuit, and it allows you the tax benefit of owner. That tells you the tax benefit. And in fact, now is when you want to get the benefit for 2015. You want to be in a business today. You want to start something that will allow you to recoup tax benefits today. So if in fact you need that tax benefit, and we all do, and you still ought to have a business no matter what, because it's a part of your portfolio, then I will say this: you want to hit us up, instant message Bob, myself, and let us help you to own your own business and create wealth. It has been one heck of a 60 minutes this morning. Would you agree, Bob?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, as at this point, I guess the only summary is go forth and sin no more. And prosper.
I love it, love it, love it. Bob, that was the final word. I do appreciate that one. Go forth and sin no more. And as always, in the inimitable words of Trevor Otts, go out and be absolutely, unequivocally amazing. Take care now. We'll see you again next week.
All right. Bye bye, everyone.
Cheers, all.